Hey guys, this is the Retro Tech Dad, and I have a little bit of a different video today, so if you've been following the channel long enough, you know that I did a full in-depth review of the Evercade EXP a little more than a month ago, and so this is actually the first new release since I published that video, and if you remember, I talked about how I really enjoyed the first Indie Heroes collection, and as you can see here, we have the Indie Heroes 2 collection for the Evercade. So on the cover it shows that it has new 8-bit and 16-bit games, and this is something that I really enjoy about the Evercade platform. It's not just taking collections of classics that we all know and love, it's actually giving attention to indie developers that have created games in the style of 8-bit and 16-bit era graphics, and so I love being able to buy something like this. It really does make me feel like I'm a 10-year-old buying a new Super Nintendo game. You can see here it comes with 12 games that are included in this cart. I actually pre-ordered this from Best Buy for $19.99, and if you are in the US, I highly recommend going with Best Buy when it comes to new releases, as for whatever reason Amazon never seems to get Evercade products out on time. So for sure, go with Best Buy first. I also recommend ordering from places like Songbird Productions or Funstock, which is based in the UK and oddly enough will probably get you your product faster than Amazon US will. So before I actually get into this card, I just want to quickly say that this is a brand new release that just came out on January 31st, so it's only about 2 weeks old now, and Blaze has actually announced some new carts that are coming out this year, and I'm very excited because I know they have a lot planned for this year, but we do have 2 official announcements, and we now know there will be a second collection for the C64, which I actually still need to get the first one, and is definitely on my list of games that I want to purchase. And we are also getting a second arcade collection for Toaplan, which I'm absolutely going to get as I enjoyed the first one immensely. Alright, back to the cart. You can see that we have 12 brand new modern retro games from indie developers. The games on this cart were part of the Game of the Month, which was a promotion that Evercade had for the VS system where you could sample one of these games for the entire month and play with them. So that was a cool little thing that they were doing for last year for the VS platform, and they will be bringing it back for both the VS and EXP. So the games included in this collection are Tapeworm Disco Puzzle, which I'm probably the most excited about trying out and playing on here, as I absolutely love the developer's other game, which was Flea, and it was featured on the first Indie Heroes collection, and I actually enjoy Flea so much that I purchased the NES cartridge directly from the developer's Etsy page, and so definitely one I'm very much looking forward to trying out in this collection. Next we have Nessy the Robot, Reknum Soul's Adventure, the Cowlitz Gamers Adventure Trilogy. I am not even going to attempt to say this one. We have Anguna, Scourge of the Goblin King, Eyra the Crow Maiden, Slinger, Lunar Journey, Yeah Beebiss 2, Gelatinous Humanity Lost, and Nix the Paradox Relic. In our second Indie Heroes collection for Evercade, we bring together 12 games designed for classic platforms created by independent developers from all over the world. And as you can see here, they're now starting to denote the compatibility in terms of the Evercade lineup, and this is compatible with the EXP, the VS, and now being denoted as the Evercade Original. Alright, let's crack this seal open and take a look and see what the manual looks like, and then do a little bit of gameplay footage and check out some of these games on here. As I've talked about before, I really love these beautiful color manuals. You can see that they talk about the collection here, and then every game will have their own entry with a little bit about the game and the developer behind it. I really love how they shine the spotlight on the individuals or teams behind these projects. Oh, a little John Riggs, who I've been watching on YouTube for quite some time now. Okay, so there's the manual. Let's get to the games now. So for this, I will just go in the order that I mentioned them earlier based on the back of the packaging. For all the games, I will either include direct links to the developer page or a page where you can purchase these games digitally in the description box below in case you are interested in any of them but don't own an Evercade or are not interested in the collection but might want a game or two to play on PC or whatever other platform they are available on. First up is easily my favorite game on this cartridge. Tapeworm Disco Puzzle comes to us from Low Tech Games, and it is a puzzle game and companion piece to Flea from the Indie Heroes Collection 1 cartridge for Evercade. I love the crossover with Flea and the charming graphics and interesting gameplay, which takes a different approach from Flea and easily makes this one of the best on here. Tapeworm Disco Puzzle is available digitally on Steam and itch.io, and honestly it's so worth owning even if you don't own an Evercade. Nessy the Robot comes to us from Daniel T Gaming, who is actually a YouTuber and was the lead designer, composer, and artist for Nessy the Robot. This is also the first game from Daniel. Nessy the Robot is a platformer in classic 8-bit style, and the robot is actually inspired by a classic piece of 1980s gaming hardware. Jump, bounce, and shoot your way to victory. I'm really enjoying this one. It's definitely my kind of game. It reminds me of some of my favorite platformers from NES. Nessy is available digitally on both Steam and itch.io. Reknum Soul's Adventure is an action-adventure RPG that was developed by Nape Games based out of Barcelona, Spain. This is definitely not their first game, and the studio focuses in on 8-bit style games with strong Japanese influence. Reknum Soul's Adventure very much reminds me of Zelda 2, and while I have not played this one enough to form an opinion, I can see this one being enjoyed by many Zelda fans. Reknum appears to be only available as a NES cart or on the Evercade. Next we have the Cowlitz Gamers Adventure Trilogy, and this is a collection of 3 8-bit arcade-style platformers. This trilogy comes to us as a joint collaboration between Lucas Kerr and MT, and this is actually one of 2 trilogies being featured on this card by the duo. The Cowlitz Gamers Adventure definitely reminds me of classic arcade platformers like Donkey Kong, and it's quite challenging, but I've really enjoyed my time with this one. The games are available digitally for purchase on itch.io. And of course, here we have the other trilogy being featured here by the team, and I will not attempt to say this name so I can avoid butchering it. I really enjoy this collection of games, and the one on screen is the second game in the series. I definitely have a thing for puzzle games with cute aesthetics, and while recording footage for this one, I ended up playing it for another hour off camera because I got hooked on it. Part of the trilogy is available digitally on the itch.io website as well. Here is Eyra the Crow Maiden, which comes to us from Second Dimension, and Eyra is one of 2 games being featured from the studio on this card. Eyra is a action platforming game with a main character that reminds me of Xena. Cool fact from the card is that this was originally designed as an 8-bit title, but then got the bump up to 16-bit power when they hit their Kickstarter stretch goals. One of the key elements for gameplay is the ability to call upon a crow to help you fight off baddies. This game is available digitally as a NES ROM on the itch.io website, and it looks like the 16-bit versions will be available from the developer's website at some point. The other game from Second Dimensions being featured here is Beer Slinger, and this one is just good simple arcade fun with a hilarious premise. Basically, you are a bartender that needs to serve your patrons beer and make a certain amount per day. The game starts off pretty slow and simple, but quickly starts to ramp up with more customers coming in demanding all kinds of beer and wanting it faster and faster. I really enjoy games like this where you can just pick up and play and try to improve on your last attempt. Beer Slinger is available digitally on the developer's website as a ROM or on a physical cart. Anguna Scourge of the Goblin King is a top-down action RPG from Bite the Chili Productions consisting of one person, Nathan Tobert, who enjoys making games as a hobbyist. Anguna is one of a few games that he has created so far, and this one has you exploring a non-linear open world that feels very much like Zelda, right down to the dungeons. I've enjoyed what I've played so far of this one, and it's another longer form game to enjoy. It is available for purchase digitally on the itch.io website. Next we have Lunar Journey, which was created by Green Boy Games, a one-person studio created by Dana Puck. His platform of choice to develop on is the classic Game Boy, and he explains that he enjoys working with the limitations that comes with it. I think it's so interesting when developers choose to work within constraints of an older platform. Anyways, Lunar Journey is definitely one I can get behind, as it is a brand new Game Boy game, and basically you've reached the moon and now must explore and complete your mission in this fun adventure. I really enjoy this one quite a bit and actually finished it since I had recorded footage of this one. Lunar Journey is available as a Game Boy cartridge, but appears to be sold out, and it doesn't look like it's available digitally, leaving the Evercade version the only way to obtain this game, I believe. Alright, our next game comes to us from Rigged Games, and as I mentioned before, I've been watching and following John Riggs for quite some time now on YouTube. Yeah Yeah Beebiss 2 was a joint effort with Mega Cat Studios, Bit Inc. Studios, Chips and Cellos, and John Riggs. So there was never actually a Yeah Yeah Beebiss 1. Apparently the game was advertised in magazines but never actually saw a release. So here we have the sequel to the game that never existed. This is a 1 or 2 player arcade style platform game, and I found this one to be a lot of fun. You basically need to clear the evil from a stage in order to move on, but of course as you progress it gets harder to do that with different challenges presented to you along the way. Yeah Yeah Beebiss 2 is available digitally on the Steam store or on a NES cartridge from Mega Cat Studios. Gelatinous Humanity Lost is another game made for the classic Game Boy, developed by John Rue of the Retro Room, who teamed up with Stephen Long to create this Metroidvania-style game. In this game, your character turns into a gelatinous blob, and at first, all you can do is stick to the walls. As you progress, you earn power-ups on a quest to regain your humanity. I did not have enough time with this one, but I definitely have enjoyed what I played of it. Gelatinous is available from the developer's website on a cool green Game Boy cartridge, and I don't believe it has a digital version. Finally, the last game on our list is another Metroidvania-inspired game called Nessy the Paradox Relic. This one comes to us from Dustin Huddleston, who has been a lifelong fan of the NES, and when NES Maker became available, he began work on Nix. This one is great and definitely gives me major Metroid vibes, complete with space pirates and power-ups. Nix is available for sale digitally on the itch.io website. And there you have it, the 12 games included in the Indie Heroes Collection Volume 2. Evercade has confirmed that we will be receiving a Volume 3 next year, and as I mentioned earlier, we will be seeing the return of the Game of the Month on the VS and also making its way to the EXP. I hope you enjoyed checking these games out with me, and I'll see you around for the next Evercade cartridge, which looks to be the C64 Volume 2 and the Total Plan Arcade Volume 2. As always, this is the Retro Tech Dad, and thank you so much for watching.